All right, ladies and gents, this is going to be my last attempt at a max mileage run with the 2025 Cummins here. So we're at 8709 miles. I don't know if we'll hit 100 miles on this trip. We've got currently 59 degrees, 10 mile an hour wind out of the west. We're going to set the cruise to 56, turn our exhaust brake off, and just let the cruise do its thing. We're going to use the same pump here, and I'm going to put it on the first click. That way we get consistent fill results to the same level, filling it with the same speed. So hopefully this is a good test. The reason I say it's the last one is because I'm going to be putting the 35-inch tires on, hopefully sometime next week finally, now that we hopefully have the rear wheel speed sensor issue figured out. So I've got the gauge for the DPF regens only at 48%, so I should be able to hit this test without doing any regens. All right, so we got our cruise set at 56, and hopefully I don't die doing this. There's a ton of traffic today for some reason. Usually on this trip, there's very light traffic. Now this is the ideal highway for this kind of test. There's relatively no traffic to speak of, and we're smooth sailing. Right now the average on the gauge cluster is 22.0 for this trip. Now back on that last highway, right before I got ready to turn, a guy triple passed us. So me and two cars behind me, and then the car behind them flew around all three of us at once in a no passing zone, and then we all caught up with each other at the stoplight. So he risked everybody's lives so he could just be the car in front at the stoplight. People are idiots. And then before that, I was actually on the way to the gas station. I was doing 4 or 5 miles an hour over the limit and had two guys behind me tailgating me. And the guy in the back tried to double pass, and so I just kind of got into the middle of the road and blocked him because there was a car coming like this guy right now, and it would not have been good. And so then the guy pulls out his phone and starts trying to record me like he should be allowed to break the law, I guess. So he was trying to do, I speed matched him when he took off. He was trying to do about 20 over the limit once he got in front of us. Just a bunch of idiot drivers out there in the world today. So we made it to our first stop, or our only stop, I should say, and hopefully you can see that there. We're at 21.4 average miles per gallon. Our transmission temp's actually on the cooler side. It's only at 138. There's a little better screen to see the mileage. 50 miles, so this will be about a 100-mile trip right at, or 99. Now we'll be driving into a headwind on the way back, so I would actually expect the mileage to drop and the temperature outside is going to warm up. So 22 might be about all that we can get out of this trip. All right, we're just coming up to the gas station, just about to 99 miles, round up to 100, and we're actually losing mileage. We're down to 20.0 on the average there on the gauge cluster. Since I had to stop around noon, I didn't take back off till about 5 o'clock, and now the wind is 15 miles per hour out of the south, and I'm not driving directly into it, but it's really not helping my mileage at all. So we're going to pull back up here. We're going to use the same fuel pump, put it on the same position, so everything's as consistent as can be. And we'll see, but if this is only saying 20, I doubt this was even a worthwhile effort. All right, so I got the pump running, and just sitting here, we've already gone below 20 miles per gallon on the gauge cluster. Now, that just stopped, so we're gonna sit here for 30 seconds and let this guy settle. 4 gallons really isn't enough to generate a ton of foam, but we just want to be consistent, give that foam a chance to settle down. Then we'll click the handle back to the first notch and let it top off. And that's how you get the most consistent result. Because otherwise you're filling your tank to a different level every time and you're not getting consistent results. So whether you're filling it with the full 3 clicks or the 1 click, you just got to be consistent with it. So if you fill your tank on the full blast 3 clicks, what happens is you actually generate a ton of foam, and so it kicks off prematurely. So you actually get less fuel in your tank versus letting it go with a 1 click, because then you're getting more solid liquid in there instead of foam. So I'm actually pretty disappointed in these results, because now that I'm over 8,000 miles, I'm actually almost to 9,000, and I started using the Arch Oil 6400 and 6500 additives. I was noticing a tremendous gain in mileage, where on your current readout, it would consistently just sit at 25. But maybe it was just the wind today that made it so poor. So again, you can see here it's telling us we're at 19.9 average, but after typing it in on the Fuelie app, it actually came out to 21.5, which isn't bad. But if you start scrolling through my others, you can see I hit 21.6, 22.5. So that's really definitely not the best we've ever achieved. So I guess I'm probably never going to achieve my goal of 24 miles a gallon in this Cummins, because now I'm going to be putting 35-inch tires on. I fully expect my mileage to drop a good 2 to 3 miles per gallon. So I've really been averaging about 15 to 16 miles a gallon on the daily driving. So that's taking off from my shop, driving down some gravel roads, driving into town, driving around town, getting some highway, just a good mix of everything is right around 15.5 miles a gallon. I don't really know if I'm happy or mad about that, but honestly, that's pretty close to what my single rear wheel trucks are pulling. The Duramaxes are getting 16 to 18 on a good day. They're usually kind of that 15 to 17 range. So I'd say we're doing pretty good. Now, towing's a different story. The towing mileage sucks on these, and it seems to be fairly consistent from talking to other people. They're getting basically between 9 and 11. No matter how heavy you're towing, it's pretty much between 9 and 11. I expect once I throw the 35s on, I'll probably get right around 13 miles a gallon. Maybe someday, if I get a wild hair, once this engine's like fully broken in, and maybe if I get the chance to delete this truck, I would try putting the stock size tires back on just to see what the difference is down the road. But the biggest takeaway from all this testing, it's going to be watching your takeoff speed. So when you're at a stop sign or a stoplight and you have to take off and go, the biggest difference you can make in your mileage on your day-to-day driving is how easy you get up to speed. If you just mash the pedal and try to hit 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, that's what's going to kill your mileage. The difference of if you drive 65 or 70 is not going to have nearly as big of an impact as you might think, versus just how quickly you accelerate from a stop every time you have to start. So I learned something. I didn't realize how big of a factor it was, just how aggressively you take off from a stop. But hopefully you learned something. Didn't get the results that I wanted on the maximum miles per gallon, but at least we learned something. So if you're still watching, thanks for hanging in there, and hopefully I can bring another informative video to you soon.